Welcome back, beautiful people. So today in the Dreamspell we have the day out of time, which is actually a culmination of the 13 moon calendar. So tomorrow we start a new year in the 13 moon calendar, which will be the Blue Storm year. And for those that know, Blue Storm will bring about everything regarding transformation, purification, and so on. So day out of time, it's a day that represents portals. So you can see it as a portal for self-reflection and for celebration. It's like you can imagine that you won an extra day, which is amazing. Because personally, I started to set new goals and intentions, not necessarily in accordance with the moon cycles, but with my personal moon, because I'm in spring. So yesterday I felt like, okay, like this is what I want to do in the next 3 weeks. And today, what happened was that everything was halted. Like, like the universe was saying, yes, you have this will. Of course, you can reach that. But at the same time, you have to notice that these energies, these ancestral patterns, these emotions are very present. And you need to come to silence, even though you won't be doing so much or working on your vision. It's much more important that you take care of being aware on one hand of your emotion, like what's coming up, and then somatically releasing them. So it signifies timelessness, right? Day out of time is a day where you can reflect on how exactly you relate to time. And especially if you are together with people or in environments that have very clear schedules and deadlines, and they are not flexible, they are not employing that feminine aspect of our existence. It's interesting to notice how you're picking up on that, because time is not money, time is art in the Dreamspell. And so it's good to notice, if your mind is constantly stressed out and like stuck in loops of anxiety, it means that it's still thinking in linear terms. Time for the mind, time is linear, it's not circular, it's horizontal, it's not vertical, right? So when we have very specific schedules and we don't allow ourselves to recalibrate, to come to stillness, to silence, to actually connecting with our higher selves in order to pivot, in order to notice if we need to walk in another direction every 2 hours, every 3 hours, right? Because we're multidimensional beings. If we, let's say, make a plan for the next 3 weeks or for the next week, and we're so fixed and set, but we don't allow ourselves to change direction in this, let's say, skeleton structure that you've built, then it's going to be very rigid, and your soul, your feminine energy will not agree to that. So coming back, it's very important that you notice how you are picking up on energies regarding time that are not yours. And also notice if there is no time because, right, a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time. Oh, there is no time for it. If there is no time in your personal space, in your schedule, in your busy schedule, there's no time for celebration. If you don't have a day, if you don't have a ceremony, if you don't have a practice for celebration, for reflection, for being grateful, like today would be a good day for a fire ceremony, for example. If you don't have a practice to include that sacredness into your life, you might consider that. You might consider it. It can be extremely difficult depending on your environment, as I mentioned, depending on the people that you're with. It's not always easy. We are the way showers. We are the pioneers of this new way of being, of a more aligned way with the natural cycles of the earth, with the sacredness, with noticing that the sacred is within and not outside of us. So pay attention. It's good to pause and reflect. Even if you had so many plans for today, I promise you, not only will your nervous system be grateful and thank you, but also so many things can align without you doing anything, without you noticing. Because you are going to be receiving instead of pushing, instead of... Okay. Also in the Dreamspell, we have the day of the mirror. So it's, again, I'm saying, make sure you become aware in stillness what is yours and what is not. Especially for people that have a specific kind of karma. They have come into this life to break up generational, trauma patterns. It's good to be aware of that wounding. It's good to be aware, oh, this is not mine. This is not my essence. This feeling of fear, right? There's fear, like nothing is good enough. There is no time. Something will happen, expecting the worst. Like this is all collective. It's not you. But we're running this program so unconsciously. It's there. It's always there, right? And so this program will not allow you to relax, to celebrate, to move with the seasons. It's completely in opposition to the natural flow of life, this fear. So notice, reflect, like the mirror, reflect without judgment, right? Because the mirror doesn't judge. Okay, I noticed this fear. Is this my dad's? Is it my mom's? Is it my great grandma's? Is it collective? Okay. Then you don't need to identify yourself with the fear. Notice the shame. Okay, shame. Like, how does it come into your life? Is it yours? How does it show up? So observe the mirror, right? The mirror and recognizing this the artificial way in which we live. Very few things, especially me being at home, very few things are natural. Very few activities are based on following our heart, following our joy. And I cannot blame, I cannot judge, right? That would be an easy way out. And I'm not here to do that. Neither are you. We're here to take radical self-responsibility But with that, we're also responsible to not identify ourselves with it. Okay, so yeah, Sun is still in Leo. Yellow Leo. So it's still about courage. And in human design, it's still about, and Jinkies is still about leadership. The leadership that transcends arrogance and moves towards humility. So, of course, the opposition with Pluto will bring up the fears about leading. And not necessarily leading others or leading projects, but leading yourself in integrity. So, I know for me, Leo is my South Node. I'm completely opposite to Leo because I'm an Aquarius. And so anything regarding putting myself out there, being confident, self-expression, all of that doesn't come natural, or it's filled with so much doubt, so many patterns of self-doubt, of insecurity, that are not 100% mine, of course. So Leo is asking us, okay, can we be more courageous? But of course, we know from astrology that we don't just look at the sun, we don't just look at one planet. As during the day, we're multidimensional, we don't look at one single aspect. Because if we just look at this specific relationship with my parents, with my partner, oh, it's just my health, I'm worried about my health and that's it, nothing else matters, then of course we're gonna be in a downward spiral. So we always have to have this holistic view of, oh, but I'm also that, and I'm also that, and that as well. Everything is me. So we don't look at just the sun, we look, oh, wait a second, we see the patterns, we connect the dots. So the sun is in Leo, but the Pluto, right, is opposing it. So of course Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, will bring up things. Okay, what is still keeping you away from being courageous, for being fearless, for leading? What is still there in the background? And maybe it's not even gonna be in the background, maybe it's gonna be like in the forefront. And there's no way for you to hide it or to just put some calming music. You know, you're gonna go on YouTube and search for calming, anti-stress, anti-anxiety music, and all will be well, and then you can continue your tasks. No. Pluto will come, it will be like, okay, this is it. This is the frustration. This is the anger. Frustration for you not expressing yourself all these years. It comes when you're walking to your grandma, you're on the street. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna wait for like, oh, I feel this anger right now, but I'm gonna wait for 2 more hours because then I will have time to explore. No. You go to a tree, you go in a place, like in the next 2 minutes, where you can express that. And it doesn't have to be like, rah, like shouting out, but it can be like literally going down in a squat and just like doing this. And it's already a somatic release. And with this somatic release, that is out, you can create more space, a bigger container for you to gain that clarity of, I see now, I see what's going on, I see why this was there. And so it's very healthy for you to act on whatever is coming up and only afterwards interpret. Because if we just sit, and this is the Aquarius, if we just sit and be mental about it, it's not gonna bring us anywhere because the mind doesn't know. Mind thinks it knows the answer, but it doesn't. not always. So we also have the moon in Pisces. So that brings up things, right? It's not so easy, because life is not easy. We are not easy. We're not simple. Of course, we don't have to overcomplicate our lives. But if we are aware of, oh, there are all these forces, then I can rest into the knowing that there's so much more out there, right? It's not just me being upset today, or me having all this anger and I don't know why. Or, oh, I guess I'm just not worthy, right? This can come up like every 3 days. Oh, I was fine yesterday, but today I realized, yeah, I'm definitely not worthy. Notice that. Notice those thoughts. Become aware. Mercury, like, before I go into Mercury, the moon is in Pisces, so the moon will actually show you, but it's Pisces. Pisces is emotional. It's the spiritual warrior. It's like, okay, there are all these things coming. Maybe you will become more emotional, right? It's the water, the Pisces, and the fire of the Leo. So you have the fire, right? Okay, I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna do this and that, right? It's gonna be amazing. And then the moon in Pisces will start to stir things up. Okay, but if you really want to do these things, right? You also have to see all the stuck emotions that are related to that thing that you want to do. Plus, the moon works with Pluto, and so it will bring up things. And Mercury is the messenger of the gods. So Mercury is now moving from Leo into Virgo for the next 10 days, I think. So Virgo. We will move from Mercury, like how we communicate, from Leo being just out there, to being a little bit more reserved, a little bit more analytical. And it's good. It's good to be that way. It's good to always have that balance between spontaneously expressing something and then I'm sitting with, okay, do I really want to say that? Can I put it in a way that is more, a little bit easier to understand for the person I'm talking to? We also have the finger of God today. We have Yod. And this is a very, as I learned, it's a very fated day. It's a very fated time. And so people who have Yod, which is this this planetary aspect, so there are 3 planets that make up a triangle, and it's the people who have this in their charts, they can feel, and also today might bring up this energy of something like a piece of information is missing. A very important piece of information is missing that might take away this confusion, this irritability, this discomfort. If I could only have this specific thing, then like I could relax. Like, notice if you have this feeling today, because I do. And I always do. I always feel that, oh, maybe if I would not, like, you know, it's like on the top of your tongue, it's like on the tip of your tongue, it's just like, it's there, right? It's just like that one key that could open, that could unlock an insight, and then all the confusion, all the doubt would go away. Just notice, you know. However, it's good to also know that when these 3 planets align, like in a triangle, they you know, they bring up some chaos. But it's good because there is chaos between the duality, and then there comes a third aspect. And the third aspect, the third planet, because we're talking about Mercury, Pluto, and Neptune, right? Pluto, like bringing up the underworld. The Neptune is the mystic, and Mercury is able to translate. So it's always like between two oppositions, between two different timelines, or two different choices that you can make, comes a third one. And maybe that is the release that you needed. Maybe that was the missing piece. So Mercury is able to, thankfully, in all this confusion and chaos of like so much is being stirred up, and you know, and you have all this esoteric wisdom of what that might mean, and so on. The Neptune, I see Neptune being up there and Pluto being down there, right? And Mercury is somewhere here, right? Like in the Tree of Life. And Mercury is really like doing its best to interpret everything for you. So again, if you are not silent and in stillness, it's difficult for Mercury to do his job. It's difficult for those messages to actually land. However, if you are in stillness, this might be a very fated time. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share. And I'm thinking if there's anything else, but I don't think so. Yeah, probably this was it. And in the next few days, we still have approximately the same placements, especially like, you know, Leo and leadership and all of that. So if you still work with this archetype, when it comes to astrology, if you work with Leo, if you work with being bold, being courageous, I think it will serve you a lot, even if it's just something that you are trying. It's like, okay, this project or this idea is very bold. Like, just go for it. Just go for it. Just do it, because the lessons, even though it won't, even if it won't be manifested, even if it will be successful, you learn so much on the way. And this is the most important, right? Like, I see life as an adventure. I have such a different way of looking at projects and looking at my manifestations and anything that I'm doing. You know, they don't hold real meaning for me. They hold it for my ego. What really holds meaning for me is places, situations, projects, ideas that I can serve humanity. Like, really, like, for me, even for example, healing my shadows, you know, in order for me to heal my generational trauma, to heal my ancestors as well, or healing my relationship wounds so I can be in a better harmony with my partner, like healing the karma there. For me, this is so much more important and holds so much more meaning and weight now than any project, any retreat idea that I could manifest, especially right now, that I could manifest and would bring my ego a lot of satisfaction. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and if anything was helpful, let me know. Please do subscribe, like this video, and I'm very happy to see each other very soon. Have a beautiful day.